Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Thursday, the 8th of January.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Our Rwandan Community Insurance makes a big move. We find out the details.
APR off to a flying 2015 but hidden dent on the way.
We follow up more on the new car emission testing measures.
And movie review. We take a look at the latest movies playing in theaters, and as always, the classic flick of the week.
Good morning. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning, and you are watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Isheja. And over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports, and entertainment news, headlines, lifestyle headlines, from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here in the studio. What's going on in the world of the money, Fidelis?
Well, the government is determined to have all of Rwanda have electricity. I have all the details for you today.
Okay, Arnold, the world of sports, what do you have for us?
The latest from the APR is Songa game and the Proteas World Cup squad has been named.
All right, and it's my favorite day when it comes to movie review, classic flick. Alan?
That's right. It's almost the end of the week, so I have and the weekend. It's almost here. So I have all the latest movies to go check out in the movie theater, and as well a classic that you can watch at home.
It's gonna be a great one. All right, all that and more still to come. But first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
Mutuelle de Santé is a community-based insurance established by the government designed to cover majority of Rwanda's citizens. But over the past few years, there has been a steady decline in subscribers, as well as some financial issues and mismanagement woes. As a result, the Ministry of Health has decided to hand it over to the Rwanda Social Security Board. The handover process is finally complete, and as the public, we've been assured that it's what's for the best. But what does it really mean? I went to find out. Established in 2004, Mutuelle de Santé is a community-based health insurance scheme that benefits over 90% of Rwanda. But with the Mutuelle de Santé having just undergone a major handover from the Ministry of Health to the Rwanda Social Security Board, it's important to know what this means for us.
On our side, we'll mainly be looking at policy.
Okay.
Yeah, but the rest of the implementation, the follow-up, this has been shifted to the Rwanda Social Security Board. So it's going to RSSB because of their expertise and experience in terms of managing health insurance, because we've seen what they've been doing with the current insurance that they are handling. So Ministry of Health will remain with the policy level, and also we still have to play the role of mobilizing funds from donors, because we still have while people pay for the Mutuelle de Santé, we still have categories in Budehe, the ones that cannot pay. So these ones the Ministry of Health plays an important role for mobilizing funds for such categories.
Over the past few years, numbers have been on the steady decrease for registrants. But despite the dwindling numbers, many of the patients at this clinic feel that having Mutuelle de Santé is essential.
Ku muntu uyifite bimugirira akamaro ko urebye iyo muri pirive utanga amafaranga menshi cyane, ariko wowe witeganyirije ukaba ufite mituweli ni amafaranga make yo kugura ifishi 250. Rero ntabwo ari menshi, rero bakakuvuza uko urwaye indwara yawe igakira nta kibazo.
Mituweli ni nziza cyane, kuva ubutwite kugeza ubyara ni nziza cyane.
Mituweli ni ikintu cyiza kugeza ubu ngubu kubera ko ifasha umuntu kwivuza ikindi cyayo cyiza ni uko ivuza umuntu urembye ku buryo bw'impanuka ubundi ikavuza ababyeyi babyara.
Mituweli ni nziza cyane kuko iyo umuntu abashije kurwara amafaranga waba ufite ayo ari yo yose ubasha kunyarukira hano kwa muganga.
Mituweli turayitekerezaho cyane kuko ari ingenzi, dufasha muri byose. Mu gihe uba nk'umwana cyangwa ngewe ndwaye bitunguranye biramfasha cyane kuko ari igihe umuntu ashobora guterwa atiteguye ugasanga mituweli irakugobotse. Mu gihe waba ufite mituweli n'utwo dufaranga dukeya ntiwabura n'utukuguriza. Niyo mpamvu rero mituweli ari ingenzi, tugomba kuyikoresha kenshi.
With the handover signed and sealed, hopefully the numbers go back up. We'll just have to wait and see. Makeda Mahadio, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Yeah, so it was a good time.
Interesting. What did you get? What did you learn about Mutuelle de Santé that you did not know of before you actually went and shot the piece?
I actually did not know much about Mutuelle de Santé, but you know what? I learned a lot about the handover.
Right.
You know, I learned that it was, like you said in the video, so that RSSB can take over the financial part of it. You know, Ministry of Health, they don't have experience in actual insurance or taking care of the finances, and so they decided to hand it over to RSSB, and the Ministry of Finance is going to be helping with the finances and stuff like that. So it's going to be, you know, it's a collaboration between a lot of, it's not only the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, and RSSB. It's going to be quite a few other players in there. And, you know, they're just trying to put more systems in place,
right,
you know, so that things like, you know, this mayor who was arrested in Ruzizi, it doesn't happen again, you know what I mean? Things that can just have like proper mechanisms so that everything is nice and organized. And actually another thing that I learned, and we said it in the video, you know, the numbers have been going down of people who have been subscribing to Mutuelle, and soon I'm going to ask everyone if they have their Mutuelle in place.
Becoming like the health
I'm like,
expert.
now I'm you know, the one who's representing. But yeah, actually, you know, the numbers have been steadily kind of going down.
Right.
And that's one of the things I was most curious about. Why? Because it's such a good initiative. And apparently, one of the biggest reasons is because when it first started, everyone kind of was excited about it. They were convinced of the importance of having insurance. But then imagine, you know, you spend this money to get insurance for your entire family. No one gets sick that year, and then
you feel like it's a waste.
Yeah, people think, you know what, I kind of wasted that money. No one got sick. I'm not going to bother to get it again, you know, if something happens. And I think that it's people don't understand the importance of it because, like the lady was also saying in the video, you don't make a date with getting sick. You don't know when it's going to happen. It catches you by surprise. So it's always good to have that safety net, you know. So yeah, I mean,
they should
honestly,
hire you at
they
shouldn't be hiring you.
But I want to know, what does everyone else think? Does everyone here have their Mutuelle? Because it's very easy to just kind of ignore it, you know?
Personally, I'm all for Mutuelle. I mean, like you say, no one has a day to getting sick. And I've seen situations where you actually maybe have an accident or actually fall sick and you don't have insurance. And the amount of money you have to pay at the end of the day is just ridiculous. So better safe than sorry. But I also understand what these people mean. Because, I mean, most of the people, especially people in rural areas, you know, they have to work very hard to make their money. And they feel like, you know, if I spend this money to buy insurance, then one gets sick, I might as well have invested in something else. But again, that's a mindset that we should change because they have to understand, you know, better safe than sorry.
Right, and also, if really you cannot afford it, I mean, whatever money you make, you seriously just really can't afford it. There are things in place, like Nathan was telling me that actually the Ministry of Health, they take money from donors to, you know, pay for the people who can't actually pay for Mutuelle. Also, there is a budget that's allotted for that, especially in the government. So, I mean, you know, that's really shouldn't be an excuse either.
Exactly.
I think it's just education. What do you think, Arnold?
My issue is what you talked about, why the numbers have actually dwindled for Mutuelle de Santé. According to what they were saying before at the parliamentary committee and the likes, is the numbers actually dwindled, not because of the price of Mutuelle de Santé, but the effectiveness of Mutuelle de Santé. It's people were paying this health insurance, but when they actually go to the hospitals, it wasn't covering for what they were sick of. You know, that's the reason why there was the decline. Not people not being able to afford it, because according to the government's, the National Institute of Statistics, they say 98% of Rwandans can actually afford it from their physical, you know, from their own money. Because it's not expensive, it's not
I mean,
more.
you said 250 francs.
Exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
it's very little money.
Yeah, but when people actually go to hospitals, yeah, it's, you know, they ask you to pay for some medicine, the
Or your
tabs
illness can be taken care of.
So that's why
with
the
that
numbers
budget,
were
right?
actually dwindling. That's why they went back to reverse the policy. And when they realized in reversing the policy, the Ministry of Health's budget will be affected if the Ministry of Health was to continue catering for all those people. So what do you do better? Give it to a pension scheme, which is the RSSB, which has experience at handling this. And I think that's why the handover came in.
Yeah.
Right.
But do you think that through this process it will actually help more people to get the Mutuelle de Santé?
Yes, I think it will definitely help, being that this RSSB, their work is to handle insurance. You know, that's part of they're the biggest insurance firm in the country.
Right.
You know, about 94% of the subscribers in Rwanda subscribe to RSSB. So RSSB will be able to handle
Handing it
this.
over to the experts.
Yeah, so why not give it to someone who is an expert at doing that?
How about you, Alan? Do you have your...
Yes, I do actually, and I've been lucky enough not to have to use it, but I think it's always good to be safe. And you know, one of the things in regards to insurance, it's funny you say that, but I've once spoken to someone who works in insurance, and insurance is something that's actually not very common, especially in outside of Kigali. People don't always think, oh, maybe I should be insured before something happens.
Yeah.
So it's a mentality that I think
It has to change.
Exactly.
Right?
It has
Right.
to change.
It has to evolve.
And I think one of the best things about Mutuelle de Santé is that you have to have it for your entire family. Like if you have children or if you have your wife or something, you can't just say, I just want it for myself, or I'm just going to get it for my youngest daughter. You have to get it for everyone.
Right.
You know?
It's really
very
good.
helpful.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at the business headlines. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. The Ministry of Infrastructure has announced plans to avail electricity to over 20,000 households in the country. The initiative is part of the Economic Development and Poverty Reduction Strategy that targets to have 70% of the country accessing electricity by 2018. With more projects going on to fast-track this initiative, it is hoped that Rwanda will start trading power within the East African region. The central bank announced that Rwanda's microfinance industry registered a decline in profits during the first 9 months of 2014. The report showed that the sector's profits decreased by over 30% due to increased non-performing loans. In an effort to avoid this from happening this year, measures are said to have been taken to avoid another decrease. And in other news, oil giant Royal Dutch Shell has agreed to an $84 million settlement with residents of Dobo community in Niger Delta for 2 oil spills. The spills, which have caused environmental pollution and affected the fishing business in the Boho community, were caused by operational failure of the country's pipelines, the community's pipelines. Officials, however, say the extent of pollution in the area was caused by the ongoing theft and illegal refining. You're up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news are coming up next in just a minute with Arno Quizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news with me, Arnold Kwizera. Starting with basketball, the APR Organized Heroes Tournament is set to become an annual event according to the national basketball body, FERABA. In a bid to increase the number of basketball competitions in the country, the basketball body aims to increase the number of competitions in 2015 as a way of keeping players fit and attract more sponsorship to the sport. Traditionally a dominant sport for Rwanda, the national team struggled at last year's continental tournaments. The tournament is set for the weekend of the 17th of this month. Alexander Song joined Mohamed Diame and Sadio Mane as part of the contingent of African football superstars that are set to miss this year's African Cup of Nations. With the Nations Cup tournament less than a fortnight away, the West Ham midfielder announced his retirement from the national team via his Instagram post after being excluded from the Cameroon squad for the tournament. Song had a dismissal 2014 campaign after being red carded at the World Cup in Brazil and being loaned by Barcelona. Sanza has released this year's Super Rugby fixtures with a 15-team tournament set to kick off earlier than usual, pending the Rugby Championship and World Cup tournaments later in the year. This year's Premier Club competition will use the 15 format for the last time as the tournament gears up for expansion in 2016 that will see teams from Argentina, Japan and a 6th South African franchise. Australia will see the return of prodigal son James O'Connor as he seeks to regain his place in the Wallaby squad with impressive performances for the Reds in Brisbane. We will have more on the Super Rugby in February. And finally, Isonga were led out by their assistant coach, but despite having a man's advantage, the youthful side could not handle the bullish attitude of APR at the Regional Peace Stadium in Nyamirambo. Not even the sending off of John Baptist Mugiraneza for an early shower could deter defending league champions APR Football Club from increasing their lead at the top of the National Football League as they held on to a comfortable 2-0 win in this year's first league fixture. Once again, Isonga had to settle for the services of their caretaking coach as the recently reappointed Innocent Seniga was not on the touchline. APR did not leave the match unearthed as they were dealt a blow in the closing stages, with their goalkeeper Olivia Kwizera limping off with what seemed to be a thigh injury. Army side will seek to use the convincing victory as a positive sign in their preparation for the Cup Champions League qualifier against Mozambique champions Ligue Deportiva de Maputo next month. With both Rayon Sports and Police dropping points on that day, APR are now Buki's favorites to defend their title. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda.
So tell me about this youth match. You were at Nyamirambo. Yeah. What took place?
Yeah, Isonga came up again. It's the first league fixture of 2015 for the 2014-2015 league campaign. Right. APR are the defending champions. APR had a full strength squad. Before the match, they were boosted with the news that Jean-Claude Ndoli, the national team goalkeeper, will be available for the Africa Champions League. But again, they had a few dents. You know, their number 2 custodian, who's Olivia Kwizera, was hit with a thigh injury in the game. APR finished with 10 men after, you know, one of their midfielders, a defensive midfielder, Jean-Baptiste Sejmana, getting a red card for a very, very cynical challenge. You know, it was an off-ball challenge. We see there the goalkeeper, Olivia Kwizera, you know, passing the ball. APR had a very comfortable game, even despite being 10 men down. This is a game they could have gone on to win by maybe, you feel, 4 goals or 5 goals. But then there were so many questions to ask on the side of Isonga. You know, their coach Innocent wasn't available for the game, yet he had been just reappointed. Before the game, he talked to a few of us. I got a chance to talk to him before the game personally, and he told me that he needs the management to step away from his work. If he has been appointed, let him be the one to choose the team. Now, Isonga, as you know the history, it's a team that was brought up he was brought to the league without going through the right channels. This was a team that was formulated to groom the class of Mexico, the under-17 team that we had go to the Mexico World Cup. And all these boys, majority of whom are in the APR team, 6 of them being in the starting current APR side, were picked from Isonga. Now, the team failed to go through the right procedures, structures were not set in place, and it's definite they're not going to be in the National Football League next season.
All right. The African Cup of Nations, everybody's excited about it, but you have superstars, African superstars like Alexandre Song, who's not going to take part in it after a very bad World Cup.
Yeah.
He's at it again with the national side. Tell us about it. He wasn't selected to be part of the African Cup.
I think Cameroon have now gone back to the young route. I think they want to bring a new squad, but when you look at the Cameroon squads of the past 3, 4, 5 tournaments, minus the 2002 Africa Cup of Nations, I think that was the last great Cameroon squad we had. You know, the Alexander Song's uncle, who was the captain. Rigobert Song. But look at that cynical challenge from Alexander Song at the World Cup. A lot of indiscipline. We had the Cameroon team have roles within each other. You know, we had Asso Ekoto, the Tottenham Hotspur left back, you know, going head-to-head with Patrick Diame, you know, to almost beating each other on the pitch in that game against Croatia at the World Cup, which shows a lot of indiscipline in the Cameroon squad. Cameroon has one of the most talented teams, you know, individual players when it comes out there, but a lot of indiscipline is affecting West African football. Not Cameroon alone, but you have Ghana having the same roles, you have Nigeria having the same roles. So there are a lot of money problems coming in, a lot of selfish problems from the players and the officials at stake. You know, players are not being given their bonuses. We had the Ghana captain coming out today, Asamoah Gyan, on his social media account saying, unlike what they had at last year's World Cup, they hope not to have bonus problems at this year's Africa Cup of Nations.
Let's hope that's true. Right before we move on, basketball back home, do you feel like APR organizing another tournament, the Heroes Tournament this time, is that good for Ferraba having multiple competitions here in the country?
Yeah, I think it's very good for Ferraba, especially after they went to the stance of not having naturalized players playing for the national team. So that now we are regrouping. Rwanda is regrouping. Rwanda has had some weaknesses in its basketball team. The big man lacking, especially in the basketball team. You covered a basketball holiday clinic recently, and you had the complaints. Right. You know, the national body is not being engaged. I think maybe they have gone their mandate. This year we had the national women's team last year train a lot, but they were not able to participate in any continental tournament. You know, the men's team, which the Rwandan national basketball team, went out for the Zone 5 championships, which were held in Kampala, and they performed not to what you would call a Rwandan standard, being that they had been at the African basketball championship before. Then the national champions, which is Esport, who have gone unbeaten for a very, very long time, about 3 years unbeaten. That shows the lack of competition, and it affected them at the club championships, which were held in Mombasa, where they finished 5th. You know, that's unacceptable for a team as talented as Esport. I think there's a lot of lack of competition. Everything is being taken for granted. Ferraba coming out with that statement saying they want more competitions. We are most likely going to have the CRK Sportif Invitational Tournament back on the calendar. So they are planning to have about 4 to 5 tournaments a year, you know, to keep players fit, to attract more sponsorship, because the more tournaments you have, the more your sport is given outlay out there. And when your sport is given outlay out there, sponsors are attracted. It's happening for cricket. It's starting to happen for rugby with DHL getting on. Football still has its own squanders to sort out, but it's a very, I think it's the right step. It's the right step in the right direction.
Thank you very much, Arnold. Yeah. Stay tuned. Makeda and I will be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news-making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
Authorities arrested Rusizi Mayor Oscar Nizeyimana in what appears to be a result of ongoing investigations into alleged mismanagement of Mutuelle de Santé funds. Last year, 6 officials were questioned and detained by police in relation to the missing Mutuelle funds. Also arrested were the district vice mayor for social affairs, Basile Bayihiti, and Emmanuel Ndamunizeye, the district director of health. Mayor Nizeyimana becomes the 7th top district official to be arrested over the funds. Irregularities were uncovered during an audit into Mutuelle's operations ahead of its imminent transfer to the Rwanda Social Security Board.
Rwanda Revenue Authority has signed an agreement with the Rwanda freight forwarders to enhance customs competitiveness in the region. The MOU is expected to be used to set up a framework of co-cooperation between RRA, Customs, and Rwanda Clearing and Freight Forwarders Association to facilitate trade in accordance with the existing laws. Officials said that the agreement would assist in fighting fraud through collaboration between customs and clearing agents and help enhance capacity building through coordinated training programs.
Telecom companies in Uganda have introduced lower tariffs for subscribers making phone calls to Rwanda, Kenya, and South Sudan. Uganda joins Rwanda and Kenya, which implemented the One Network area as part of the Northern Corridor Integration Projects. The service enables people to make calls across the region free of roaming charges. There had been complaints from residents of the 3 countries on the high calling and roaming rates that were being charged by telecom companies.
And in international news, 12 people were killed yesterday and several others injured after gunmen attacked the offices of French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. At least 2 masked attackers opened fire with assault rifles, and the office exchanged shots with police in the street outside before escaping by car. President Francois Hollande said that there's no doubt it had been a terrorist attack, quote, of exceptional barbarity. In 2011, the magazine was firebombed after it carried a caricature of Prophet Muhammad.
Time now for a review of the headlines. Doreen Umutesi from the New Times joins us now to look through some of the front pages. Doreen, we just spoke about it. It's really sad, really unfortunate what happened in Paris yesterday.
And quite shocking.
It's really shocking. I mean, this is Charlie Hebdo. It has happened in 2011 before that they were targeted by quote-unquote terrorists back then because they had put out satirical pictures of the Prophet Muhammad. This time around, 3 men walked in and started just shooting, basically, killing a lot of people. Tell us about it.
Okay, what I can say about this issue is like it's not just a terror attack. It's an attack on freedom of expression. It's an attack on press freedom. And now it is, based on what is being said in the news, you can see it's basing it from, because of a cartoon that they did of Abdul Bakari, the Baghdad IC, the Islamic State leader.
Right.
And it's just a cartoon of just saying Happy New Year. I don't see why it can claim 12 lives and other people. So it's something that I think something needs to be done. I don't know, I think media houses now need to beef up their security, because now if it has started in Paris, probably in other states someone is going to just put something there and they'll be attacked. So it's really bad and sad.
It's unfortunate because this adds to other terrorist attacks around the world that have been happening recently in the name of Islam, and it's almost the opposite of what
Islam
religion is supposed to be about.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next topic. there is, and this is actually on a nicer note, we talked about this the other day, our sports correspondent Arnold Quizera told us about it. There is going to be a new hotel that FROAFA is building.
Yeah, it's a 4-star hotel, and it's going to have over 88 rooms, and it's aimed, it is from a fund that was given by FIFA, a 2 billion Rwandan franc grant, and though FERAFA needs to raise more money for the project to be complete, but it's something that is going to benefit the sports fraternity, because besides, you see, they've been, when they're going for camps, like national teams, they would go to other hotels. Now, instead of spending that money in other hotels, now they would not be spending it at all. Actually, it's going to even be a commercial venture that will bring in money,
and that money they were spending in other hotels can be used in buying other things like equipment and stuff.
Yes.
Now, from what you know, was this because FIFA gave us money, gave us 2 billion Rwandan francs?
Yeah.
Now, was this directly going just for the hotel? Or was it money given to the Rwandan Football Federation for other things as well?
No, I think it was given for developmental projects regarding to promoting sports. So if it's a hotel, and you see, it's actually going to be fruitful, because instead of teams having to have budgets of spending camps, because they usually hold camps when they have friendly matches or international matches. So instead of having to go on different hotels spending that money, now they have a home, yeah? And either way, even other people are going to even be using it. So it brings in revenue, and it's...
One thing I wondered when I heard about this grant and also the hotel was, how did Rwanda even earn the grant from FIFA this year?
I'm not sure about that, but I think it's FIFA gives countries annually. But if you now, for example, because this grant is less based on the project and what they want, if they are able to actually use the funds well, FIFA could actually add them more funds, yes, more grants to fully complete the project.
Great for the sport, great for our country.
Yes.
Definitely looking forward to what's going to come of that hotel as well.
Absolutely, thank you very much, Doreen. That was pretty good. All right, now, on yesterday's show, we talked about car emissions testing order that was issued starting this year. To find out more on the effects of environmental pollution caused by vehicles and machinery, I spoke to Remy Duhuze, the Director of Environment Regulation and Pollution Control at Rwanda Environmental Management Authority, and started by asking him about the genesis of the Prime Minister's order.
This comes from a planning that started some years back. Maybe as a background, in 2011, REMA conducted a study on the status of air pollution in Rwanda, especially in Kigali city. And the study revealed that air pollution is becoming a reality in Kigali. From there, the government also decided that we should have actions to address this problem. From this, we started preparing what we call an enabling regulatory framework, which started with the development of Prime Minister's instructions to control vehicles' emissions. And they gave 1 year period to the general population to start preparing for the upcoming emissions testing. One of the provisions of those instructions that all vehicles undergoing the motor vehicle inspection should also tested for emissions that they release into the environment. This 1 year has been a year of awareness raising, education. As you may recall, on 5th of May last year, 2014, we launched these emissions testing at the Motor Vehicle Inspection Center, mainly as an education and awareness raising tool to the general public. From that moment, the Motor Vehicle Inspection Center was conducting, with the limited equipment they had, conducted some testing on some vehicles to educate the owners. Mainly it was done on vehicles that were suspected to be highly polluting. and the owners were not fined, but they were kind of educated on what they should do to make sure that next time when they come for inspection, they pass the test. So this testing that's starting in this January is the implementation of those Prime Minister's instructions that were gazetted a year back, but also were followed by the awareness raising and education to the general population.
Now, when the Prime Minister, the Honorable Anastase Murekezi, when this measure actually came out, there are some motorists that were saying, well, we went to control technique since November, since September. Now it's January of the following year. Should we go back because there's this car emissions testing, or should we wait when our control technique is over, then head to control technique?
In fact, it has been done since May of last year, but it was not an enforcement of those instructions. It was just for as awareness raising and education. At least they do something on their emissions. At least they take their vehicles to the garages. The traffic police has that right when they find a highly polluting, a suspected vehicle, to send it immediately to the motor vehicle inspection center, even though they have a valid certificate.
I feel like I've learned so much since yesterday about the new car emission testing rules. And, you know, I was saying yesterday when Eugene Anangwe was here talking to us about it, that I was concerned for people who had cars, but also, you know, people who were thinking of selling cars that they already had or whatever it was. But now I know that, you know, it just takes maintenance and so forth. Is there anything that you learned that you didn't know before?
What he told me off camera, that was really great. He told me that they did testing last week with their minister of Minirena, who is Vincent Biluta, and they went to check certain cars just as, you know, an example to show whoever is testing these cars how to make it work. And they said that a car from 1971 was in better shape when it came to car emission testing than a 2013 car. That should say a lot.
I love that. That is funny.
Right.
But it just shows about maintenance, right?
Absolutely. All right. So lots still to come here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. We'll talk about what's hot right now coming up, but right after this, Lifestyle with Alan Karakire.
Welcome back. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. A little bit of lifestyle now. What do you have in store for us? I'm excited.
Well, it's movie review, so of course I've got the latest movie to check out this weekend.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Little movie review situation.
Yes, right. So the first movie that's actually coming out tomorrow is an action thriller. Let's check it out first and then we'll talk.
Hey.
Lenny. Good to see you.
You too. Kim's doing okay?
Yeah, seems like the usual, Kim. Lenny! Lenny?
Sir, back away now!
I didn't do this.
Put your hands up, now!
Wanted for murder. Suspect's name, Brian Mills.
21, he joins the army. At 23?
Just off that, I wish I was at a movie theater.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably watched the previous ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
This is the third installment of Taken, and you know it follows basically Special Forces Brian Mills, which is Liam Neeson.
Right.
This is actually this movie is the one that's made him really become huge all over the world, and you know it's funny because a lot of when you look at reviews, they don't really have a lot of good things to say because, you know, like they always say, you know, a sequel is never as good as the original.
Right, this is a third.
Right, this is the third. But I feel like it's up to you to go and, for me, I love it. I enjoy it, but, you know.
You just have to have basically a different appreciation for all of them. Because
Right.
if you expect it to be the first one, it can never be.
It can never be the first
Just
one.
think about it as a separate movie.
As a separate movie with similar actors.
I mean, my thing is, like, this guy has the worst life ever. Why is
He
it that
does.
he keeps getting in these situations?
Always, you know, once again, his daughter's in trouble and he's out to help her, and, you know, it's a great movie to watch. If you like action, I totally
He's the guy,
recommend it.
Liam Neeson.
I'm looking forward to
And
that
his
one.
voice, I love his voice. All right, on to the next one. So let's watch it and then we'll talk about it.
Right.
After 400 years of slavery, things here have become much worse. As your brother, you must set them free. Is that a threat?
Yes!
I want Moses and his family dead. What is the most important thing in your life?
You are. And when will you leave me?
Never. Let's just see who's more effective at killing.
You.
Or me.
Refugees! Did you meant to humble me? Because it
They made it look,
Alright.
it's like hotter, fresher. I don't even know if I should say sexier since we're talking about the Bible here.
The
but
Moses story.
yeah, it looks way better than the one I saw when I was a kid.
But
You know what? It's funny you say that because this movie actually has become very controversial because in countries like Egypt it's been banned because they say
been banned?
it's been banned.
Because 90% of the movie,
Yeah.
the story is played in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
So they don't like how they represent.
Of course,
the whole
I'll just quote what the Minister of Culture said. He said it gives a Zionist view of history and contained historical inaccuracies. So I mean, if you're looking at it to learn the history of the Bible, maybe this is not really the movie for you.
But the thing I don't get, when we were kids and we were watching the Moses movie like back then, it was
Right.
basically the same thing. It's just it looks fresher and newer.
It's
but
more Hollywood,
right?
And a lot of things that I don't think are
It's
in
just
the
that
Bible.
Ethan Hawke is in it. We know the
Christian
people.
Bale
But-
actually is the main actor.
And that was something that there was also controversy about because people were saying, you know, you only use these very European-looking
Right,
people.
that's actually another thing, yeah. Like Moses is blue-eyed, which some people are like, no, he wasn't
That's-
blue-eyed.
He was, yeah.
Maybe the color on our television didn't show us he was blue-eyed back then. I don't know.
Well, anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
but-
Well,
yeah.
it still looks exciting.
But anyway, so it's still playing in movie theaters. So
Right.
if you want to go check it out in the movie theater.
Definitely.
All right, on to
here.
the part you guys both love.
Oh, yes.
Right.
It's
Best
the
part.
cult classic
Best
of the week.
part.
All right, so I think we should just check it out and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Professor Sherman Klopp. Morning. Being the big man on campus was no laughing matter.
Jimmy Hopper! You got to work out. You got to push a swift. Got to exercise.
Here we go. 1, 2.
His body was disproportionate.
Anything I can get for you? Juice, coffee, rack of lamb?
His family was dysfunctional.
I don't know why everybody trying to lose weight in the first place. You're talking about that's healthy. I know what healthy is.
And his love life
I'm a big fan.
Thank you very much. I'm fatter. Flattered.
was disastrous. But now, thanks to the miracle of science,
This is why you cannot compare a first movie to a sequel to a third one. You just can't. You just gotta. They're different.
They're always different. Yeah, and that's the original. Well, not the original, but it's the 1990s. Can you imagine it came out in 1996?
I don't want to
The
think about
Nutty
it.
Professor, starring Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Of course, as you saw, there's also Jada Pinkett Smith. But it's a family movie, comedy,
Classic.
hilarious movie.
I had it on VHS. I loved it. I watched it all the time.
It's
You
a-
just
No.
say VHS.
Yes, I did. I had the
Wow.
cassette tape.
All right. Okay.
It's a great movie for those who just like to stay home and watch a classic movie. This is a perfect movie to watch.
Right.
You
Yeah.
always come with the
He comes through. He
I
delivers in the
always
fourth
do.
quarter.
And actually, speaking of the audience, as always, every week I give out free movie tickets. So the trivia movie ticket question of the week is, what year did the original Nutty Professor movie come out? Is it A, 1961, B, 1962, or C, 1963? Once again, what year was the original Nutty Professor? What year did it come out? A, 1961, B, 1962, or C, 1963? All right, so stay tuned. Hot Topics is coming right up. Welcome back. It's that Hot Topics time again. As always, you can join in on the debates, whether it's through our social media on Facebook, Twitter, or on Instagram. Sorry, did I say Instagram? I meant Facebook.
Or Instagram.
I guess even on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? Let's get into our first hot topic. Okay, guys. So, as you know, Diamond Platinums, the artist from Tanzania, was here about a week ago.
His name is Diamond and Platinum?
Diamond Platinums. Originality is his thing, I guess. Anyway, so he was here last week, and there's been a lot of criticism about what he wore at when he went to visit the Gisozi Memorial, the genocide memorial here in Kigali. Basically, they're criticizing the fact that he wore a hat inside. Now, that it was very disrespectful to the victims of the genocide, and that a lot of people are not happy about it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that it was disrespectful?
I think it's. I don't want to say the wrong
No,
thing.
I mean, for me, honestly, I feel like it depends on the culture, because maybe in his culture, he's not being disrespectful. So.
And also, if it's such a big problem, because everyone, not everyone knows the proper protocol and stuff like that,
Someone
then you
should
should
have said
say,
something.
remove your hat before entering.
On social media, what they're doing is called
Reaching,
reaching,
trying to find something to
Yeah.
criticize.
I think it's just it doesn't.
I mean, you know what though? I can almost see like our older folks saying that it was disrespectful.
Right? Yeah. And I agree.
understand,
It's
but
true.
2015.
But someone should have said something when he got
Exactly.
in.
If it was that big
Not
of a problem,
afterwards.
or there should be a sign, remove your hat before you come in. If it,
Absolutely. Well, hopefully
He
he's
paid
noted.
his respect.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What's his name? Platinum.
Diamond Platinum.
Thank you for paying your respect
Absolutely.
to our lost ones.
And
Thank
it
you.
seemed like he even got emotional, so yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, on to the next hot topic. This is one of our local artists, no less, who actually, it was during the concert with Diamond at the Amahoro Stadium. She wore a t-shirt, you guys will see. Basically, the t-shirt had the tag, oh hell yeah. And not only did it have the tag, oh hell yeah, but it also had someone doing that sign,
Okay,
what
yeah.
they call it, the devil
I-
head?
I call it the rock star.
Yeah, the rock star.
The rock star.
figure.
Well,
That's what I
according
call it.
to some others call it the devil head. But anyway, Rwanda.com reported that, you know, some people were speculating that maybe, is it possible that she's joining Illuminati? that she may be trying to, you know, be like the Jay-Z's and Beyonce's who have been accused of being part of Illuminati. Now, obviously, sorry?
Is that Illuminati conspiracy true?
Of course, I personally don't believe in it. I personally don't believe in it,
I think there is an Illuminati, but I don't think it is what people think it is. I think it's like, you know, a brotherhood of people, and I don't know.
Right.
But I think that this whole thing about the T-shirt
just taking
making
it to
her
another level.
Personally, whenever I hear this story, I have to laugh. I can't help myself. And then that's not just it. The way it was translated into Kinyarwanda, and they said it was written yego kuzimu yego. It just killed me. I was
yego,
like
kuzimu yego.
Tush final.
Basically saying yes, hell, yes.
What?
Yes.
I literally
But do they know
died.
in English it doesn't really mean like
burning, firing.
I feel like for Rwandans who maybe don't speak that much English, when you read it, it's sort of like Halloween. It's lost in translation.
Some of these media sites take advantage of people's not understanding certain things to interpret them the way they personally want to interpret.
And then they get the hits and the comments.
And does media houses even like interpret it that way though? Because you really have to have issues to think it means.
Well, anyway,
it's a misunderstanding. It's a misunderstanding.
Absolutely.
I feel like, honestly, I feel like I just said, people are just trying to find stories out of everything.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the next
topic.
topic.
Let's move on to the next one. All right, you guys remember Big Brother, which just ended not too long ago. And the Tanzanian Idris was the one that won. Well, the one who came up in second place, which was Taya from Nigeria, he's not too happy right now. And in fact, he went on to speak to one of the Nigerian papers by saying that he doesn't believe that Idris deserved to win the $300,000.
First of all, didn't he get his own money?
No, I'll actually talk about that in a minute. But basically what he's saying is, you know, like in a class, there's always the smart kids, there's the kids who, you know, are actually smart, and then there's those you're like, oh, not so smart. Well, he just, he thought that he was one of the smart kids, and he should have won. And he didn't feel like, I guess Idris
there was another smart kid in the house.
Well,
hello.
Clearly, because for him, he was completely shocked that he didn't win, you know? And so he doesn't feel like Big Brother made the right choice, or I guess the rest of Africa.
But he does know
exactly, but it's not up to Big Brother, it was up to the whole of Africa.
Absolutely.
And if the whole of Africa felt like Idris should win, then just drop it. Stop being a sole
many
loser.
countries, millions of people.
We're not the biggest experts when it comes to this, but if it's a television contest, there is going to be a number one and there is going to be a number two.
And quite frankly, everyone has their own opinion for who they thought won, but we want to know what your opinion is, all right? Don't forget that we love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and your feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and the reports that we do. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website. And please do, because we actually have been getting a lot of feedback of people saying what ideas they like, what they want to see. I'm excited.
Right, I am too.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We love to hear your feedback, and do let us know if you have any idea for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahadio.
And me, Regis Isheja. We'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine Rwanda team, have a very good day.
Goodbye.